Technically, it's still morning where I'm at. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you guys? Let me get to where I need to go with what I need to access. Give me a second here. I gotta go get a sweater. I'm feeling a little bit chilly. A second, I gotta go get a sweater. Okay, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody? So, this morning, a couple things have been on my mind. These are the things that I've been discussing in the community section of my channel. This has been the mood. This is the mood for today. Is hanging in there as things are tough, as things are bleak, really evaluating your circumstances accurately, looking at, for us who have been in this struggle, in this battle for our lives, just kind of looking at the improvements that have happened in our situation. It's very easy to look at the situation and think how bad it is, how bad it's been, everything that you've lost, everything that has fallen out of your hands. But it's a totally other scenario to look at the major improvements that are constantly happening. I know in my situation has improved significantly despite what it looks like on the outside. This situation could have gone horribly very quickly. I look at how easy, it's not easy necessarily, but how it's been for other people in the same situation. I look at the fact that others have succumbed to this situation in a very short space of time. I look at other people who have put up a fight, but without God. I know another couple that put up a fight, and it took 6 months of them fighting against this until I guess maybe they finally gave in. And, so it wasn't immediate, but it was within a space of time. And I know that, it's my strength that has held me. It's God that has held me. It's a commitment to knowing myself and knowing what is for me and what is not for me. It's been my nature. It's just my nature to be loyal. It's just my nature to to persevere, to believe in myself, to believe that a better day will come, to handle life as it comes at me. It's just my nature, it's just who I am. I'm just very grateful for the fact that I am 2 years out. We are in the summer months. We're in June, end of June, going into July. So it is officially 2 years since I've had to deal with this battle for my life. And in this thing, I've experienced God. But in this thing as well, I can also say what has been on my heart is that God has gotten to experience me. Maybe not for the first time, but that's something that I'm proud of, is that because in the very beginning, in the beginning of this, it was very apparent that God was nervous. In angelic forces around me were nervous, spirit guides were nervous. They were very, very nervous. They weren't as relaxed with me as they are now. They wanted to make sure not only that I was safe, but that I could follow through, that I wouldn't fold under the pressure. And so for me, I know for a fact that this is a test. This isn't just a walk, but this is also a test. I used to not always believe in spirit testing you, because part of me would be like, spirit already knows what you're going to do. Spirit doesn't need to test you. But to be honest with you, I kind of see, I understand, because in this life we have something called free will, and that's what's being bent and manipulated here is your free will. It's being literally manipulated. You're being presented with illusions, and you're being presented with circumstances in front of you, and they're waiting to see how you deal with it. I mean, they might be like, the likelihood is high. The likelihood might be high that you might do a good job of what you're going through, but that's just a likelihood. You can always use your free will and walk away from the challenge. You can always use your free will and back down. You can always use your free will and lose yourself, lose everything that's for you. I want to first start talking about the bribes. I want to talk about the bribes. That is a key function of gang stalking, is bribes. Giving bribes or presenting bribes to people and people accepting bribes. So, I'm going to talk about early on in my situation. It was very obvious they were trying to push me out of business. I said this to the police. I pleaded with the police. I'm like, they're trying to push me out of business. And when business was going poorly in a new location and I was stressed out, the person whose face is all over my platform said to me, "Do you want to sell drugs?" So it wasn't guesswork. It wasn't like you need to guess what's going on here. It was like pretty blatant. The first person who came to befriend me kept telling me about going to Cali, Colombia, and a lot of these people have to travel on their own because work needs to get done. I think in the beginning they travel in groups, they make it seem like so nice, we're gonna go on all of these vacations, and eventually it's like, okay, this is your job, you have no way out, you've been doing this, you're gonna travel by yourself either way. And so I remember she took some sort of solo trip. She wanted me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she wanted me to kind of take the hint, if you will. Not take the hint that there would be drugs involved, but it was like pretty obvious things, like when I got invited on a private jet to go to Nigeria and stuff like that, like things like that. And then there were always people coming by and they always kept saying Cali, Colombia, Cali, Colombia, Cali, Colombia. And they knew they had no boundaries. Like, it was people associated with friends that my kid was making, and they use your kids against you. Your kids are a liability. Everybody around you is a liability, to be honest with you. And so you have people around you that they're basically going to, whether it's telepathically, whether it is whatever they cannot suggest to you or whatever you're going to know as a suggestion, that it's like they want to suggest your behavior, let's say, and whatever you would see through so you wouldn't do, they use the people around you, and they kind of nudge you with those people giving you suggestions. In the very beginning, it used to work with my kid, and then I used to realize, I'm like, I'm not listening to no fucking kid. But they use whatever they can. And so even with children making relationships, they're making relationships with the children of drug mules. They had my kid suggest that she wants to go to do online schooling, and made her make a friend just for that. And then the friends, they all disappear on her. You know, my kids do not understand fully that they are targeted, as most kids probably don't. Most family members you have when you're targeted, they feel like they're immune from the experience that you're having. They don't see the sabotage in their world. They don't see the sabotage to their grades. They don't see the sabotage in their friendships. They don't see the sabotage in things that they're going through. They don't see it because it's still a low level. It's still covert enough that people can like brush it off as like just coincidence. But the bribes, they kept coming because they could access me. They could still access through some way, even if it was through my kids. And never been interested. I think, you know, there is this thing that boils down to, and this is part of the reason I'm confident that I don't really care for this situation, because there's never going to be a day that I'm going to hop on a plane with somebody that I don't know. And there's never going to be a day that I'm going to take any amount of money to be involved in a drug lifestyle. And so, you know, it kind of comes to the point, well, first of all, this becomes very, it's a tired song and dance for so long. Someone's hacked for 2 years. The hacking's not glamorous. It's not scary. It's not, I don't know, whatever it's supposed to be. It's not that. It's just a part of your scenery. People following you becomes part of your scenery. Sabotage on your platforms becomes part of your scenery. Dealing with a pedophile maniac is part of your scenery. Someone who is sexually attracted to children 7, 8 years old and under. Animals, someone who's sexually attracted to animals becomes part of the scenery. As vile as it is, as disgusting as it is, as hard as it is to understand, you start understanding that this is what's going on. That you are being energetically haunted by people with bodies, with vessels. You start understanding this is part of the scenery. And you're either going to make adjustments to live in that way, or you're going to succumb to something. And I think for all the people who took the bribes, they realized that it got worse. The situation got worse after you took the bribe. The bribe did not do what you felt like the bribe was going to do. The bribe didn't make it better. Now they have full access to haunt you, full access to be demonic in your life, full access to disturb your peace, full access to destroy your finances, full access to make you suffer. Because before you took the bribe, you had some semblance of hope. Before you took the bribe, you had control over your life, autonomy over your own life. Before you took the bribe, you were able to decide what time do I wake up and what time do I go to sleep, because spirits of light are never going to force you out of bed at 6 a.m. to send an email. And you start realizing that you're a slave now. You're going to be slaved out for the rest of your days, because from the place that you're at, it is going to be difficult for God to access you there because of the energetic cords that are on you. And this was done by your agreement, by your own hand. By your own hand and by your own agreement, you put yourself in a situation where you're enslaved. You're in prison, you're in purgatory with them. Your life cannot progress. And if anything, it will regress. in the place of anything you stick to long enough, you eventually master. That's where you have to be with everything that you're going through. Your persecution, your fight with gang stalking, whatever it is. And in some way, I finally understand what people were talking about, because in some way you asked for this experience. In some way, you're gonna say, no, I didn't, but you did. You did. If you were stuck in a situation and you wanted to get out and you prayed to God, you pleaded, how was that prayer different than your other prayers? Impassioned. It was an impassioned prayer. You were probably crying. You were probably begging. You were pleading. You were giving it all your energy, pleading with God to please release me from this situation. And your prayer was heard and it was answered. And God said the way out is through the gang stalking. The way out is through the persecution. The way out is through being tested. That's the way out. God, I want better for myself. I hate this job. I don't want to be in this situation anymore. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. I want to be a politician. I want to be a rapper. I want to be an actress. I want to be a singer. Your prayers were heard, and this is the path. This is the path there. The path is riddled with adversity. So when you see people who've made it, they haven't just made it through working hard and having doors slammed in their face. They had to, some of them, the ones who put in the work, not the ones who blew up out of nowhere. Because there are some people who blow up out of nowhere and you cannot find a video of 10 years ago of them performing. You can't find a video of all their old shows. You can't find a video of when they were this or when they were that. They just came out of nowhere. They're not that talented either. They're mediocre at best. I think of people who are not that funny, people who are not that, there's nothing glamorous about them. There's no star quality. There's nothing captivating. There's nothing that sucks you in. They just learn to do something, probably by watching it, but the magnetism is not there. The gift, there's no gift. There's no gift. The gift, when you see a gift, you can see a gift. Anybody can see a gift. They don't have it. Those people, they went through the machine that markets people, the machine that helps people, the machine that offers you $30K a month to work as a slave. They went through that and they got there. And then there are the people who really have talent, who really have something to offer. And those people, like I always say, those people have to take the stairs. Those people have to do it with God. Those people have to fight through it. Fight through pain, fight through adversity, fight through bullying. Those people have to actually go through it one step at a time. You walk through it with God and you learn, and you get there by never giving up on yourself and adjusting through hardships. That's how you learn. The longer you stick with your trials, the better you become. You adapt to it, you grow it, you develop a skill, you develop a gift. You have a gift, but you have to develop it. You're not there right away. Oftentimes we want to be there right away. This is the course. The course is you have to stick with the problem. You have to find the solutions. You have to be able to look back at where you came from, how far you came. This is something in my city they love to say to me, oh my God, you've come so far. I remember when you used to do this. I remember when you were here. I remember when that used to happen, because I actually worked for this. No one gave this to me. I did this one step at a time. I had to develop it. And when you develop it like that and they remember you, they try to hold on to the memory of when you first started, and they try to hold you to that. They don't want to accept you as you are right now, very blatantly. Guys, can you separate them? Because they're fighting. Leave one in and close the other, and just close the door. They want to separate you from the progress you've made. They want to remind you every day. You remember when you used to do this? You remember when you used to do that? Remember when you used to be this person? Of course you remember, but you're not that person anymore. That's the beauty of growth. You cannot sprout out perfect. The only way you can do that is by handing over ownership of what you have, what's yours. You got to do the work day in, day out. You got to keep improving. You got to keep reworking. And there's an extra layer now, and that's the layer of the adversity that you have to face on top of everything else that you're doing. So on top of the growth, on top of the improvement, on top of everything else, you now have to insulate everything that you're growing from people actively trying to destroy it because they're resentful that you won't let them in, that you won't give them control, that you won't degrade yourself by even associating with the likes of whatever they are. That's what you're facing in addition to. And there are plenty of people that I have seen that have taken these bribes. And I'm not saying this from what God wants me to say, and this is definitely not God's opinion of the situation. It's my opinion of the situation. My personal opinion is that I don't respect it. I don't know what their path is. I don't know if they get second chances. I don't know if that was their path or if they just made a mistake. I think they made a mistake. But I don't respect it because it's like you haven't done what you were supposed to do. You were supposed to learn from this situation, and instead you took bribes. And though I don't understand the process of how this happened, maybe it starts by them giving faulty messages here and there. Maybe it starts by, well, just say this in one of your readings, it's not a big deal. Maybe it starts like that and then it gets crazy. I don't know, but I don't think people actually get the money that they ask for or that they agree to. I think these are energies. Once they're in control, you're definitely not getting what it is that you, I don't think these are energies that honor what their word is. They don't honor their commitments. These are bullying energies. These are demonic energies. These are trickster energies for sure. The same way these energies trick the people who they're using, I think is the same way they trick everybody else. That's the first and most obvious thing, is that you gotta refuse all the bribes. You have to refuse everything that is coming towards you to give you the impression that it's helping you, that it's going to be of service to you, that it is going to improve your life in some way, that this is the path forward. People who have taken these bribes and have to fight their way out, I don't think there are many because it's so daunting, I'm sure. But people who have taken these bribes to destroy their life, they're stuck. Whether they're a chief gang stalker, a low-level gang stalker, everybody there is stuck. They are binded to it and they cannot leave. And above all else, they may talk about your looks, they may talk about your nose, like they talk about mine, they may talk about your life, they may talk about the square footage of your house, they may talk about all kinds of things, but what they really envy is your freedom. It is only in the absence of freedom that you realize the value of freedom. That one could give you money for your freedom very easily because that's all they can give you. It doesn't matter if they make you fat, if they make you ugly, if they give you acne, as long as you're still free. It's your freedom that you have to hold on to. That is the most valuable thing that you have, is that freedom. To do as you want, as you wish, to not be a slave, to not be overworked, to carve out time for yourself. Things may not be perfect on this side all the time. Things may be troubling, but I can decide what I do for the day. If I am to take a nap, what I should eat, if I'm gonna sleep, if I'm gonna have rest, if I'm gonna pray, who I'm gonna pray to, what I'm gonna do. And that freedom is what is sacred to me. And I will sacrifice everything else to keep that, because that is my birthright. That's what God gave me. Freedom of choice, freedom of what to believe. And I just want to tell you, whatever bribes you take, that's what you're trading for. They're gonna pay you, and what are you gonna give them? You gotta ask that. Well, what do they want from you? Oh, you just have to do this every once in a while. But no, 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 it's the freedom. They're taking away your freedom energetically, spiritually, and in the 3D, physically. They start deciding who you can have relationships with and who you cannot, who you can have friendships with and who you cannot, where you can go, what you can do. They can get as aggressive as deciding what you think by beating down on you energetically when you have certain thoughts, who you love, what you like, who you like. Or you can't like that person, you can't watch that person, you can't be in love with that person. That person is forbidden. So you're a slave in every sense of the word. This is worse than actual slavery, because I feel like in actual slavery, yes, you had to work all day, but you can believe what you want to believe secretly. But this is energetic too. They're energetically trying to tell you what to believe as well. And this is quite too much for 30,000 a month. This is not even worth $1 million a month. Because how do you enjoy anything when you don't have freedom? There's nothing here to enjoy. There's nothing to like when you don't have freedom. I just want to encourage those who haven't taken bribes. My cat looks like she's in jail. She just wants to get out so badly. If I let them out, they're gonna start fighting. You can, for those who haven't taken bribes yet, if you're homeless, you're still free. If you're in poverty, you're still free. All of this is an illusion. You're still free. You can be in and out of the hospital and still be free. Anything for freedom. Anything for freedom. You could lose your children and still be free. You can lose your home and still be free. Anything for freedom. What you're fighting for is your freedom. I see people that have to pick up their kids, put their kid in a stroller. Nobody really brushed their teeth or washed their face. I see people standing in the snow outside, in the rain outside, in the morning, at 6 a.m. while we're getting ready for the day. And I think, man, that's awful to have to get up out of your bed just to stand here to watch somebody walk by. That's not freedom. To sit in the park on a rainy day, grumbling, fists in your pocket, upset, in the rain, that's not freedom. To be taken off the path, devalued. You could have been a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer. Those lawyers that take those bribes to get people out of jail to work in that capacity, to make sure that the mules stay on the street doing their job, and they realize all of a sudden, well, I can't take the path I want. If I wanted to graduate to be this, I can't do it. If I wanted to go this way, I can't do it. I'm stuck. This is what I'm going to do until my dying day, is I'm going to continue doing this, showing up for people who don't know me at all. As soon as they get arrested, just showing up, doing whatever I have to do behind the scenes, be it a bribe, bribing judges, doing whatever, and getting them off the hook, either completely or them just serving a little bit of time, getting them out and back on the strip, back on the streets to do what it is that, they have to do. All of us here operate under a machine, and perhaps if I can't get it done, it might feel that my life is being threatened all over again. It might feel like my livelihood slows down. all of a sudden, no money comes in immediately, and I'm living in an anxiety-ridden situation where I understand that I either follow every instruction without asking any questions, or people start circulating around my house, walking past my house, following me everywhere, being very weird, letting me know that I am being watched, letting me know I'm just chilling, eating a banana, watching you every day. You're having a better experience being targeted out here than you would in there being bribed. Because in there, you know that the door has slammed and you're hearing the clanks of the lock. You know for a fact that you can't get out of there. Because once you make that bribe and you belong to them, the uphill battle that you're going to face to try to get out is going to be your punishment. That is your karma. The experience of being there and the experience of trying to get out, that is the karma. That is what you're going to be stuck with the entire time. Whether you've taken the bribe to be a gang stalker. What is taking the bribe? Sometimes they don't even offer you money. Sometimes it's literally just pushing you to do something that you shouldn't be doing. You should not be insulting people you don't know. You should not be doing any of that. And all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, I'm participating in this activity. And they start very small, and then all of a sudden it's a big thing. And then if you stay long enough fighting it, you start seeing the reality of it. Even the people fighting you down are fighting for their survival. If they can't get this done, then it's them, because they are owned by the cabal. And so where they were esteemed, where they were held in high esteem while they were performing, they can be sacrificed easily any day of the week, any second. This is not a 10 of Cups situation. This is a 10 of Cups reverse. This is a call-less situation. This is a situation that you can give 40 years to, and the day you cannot produce because it's just simply not possible, you will be sacrificed immediately without thought. This is what this situation is. Freedom above all. Freedom above all. This is what really matters. I know in my city, these people a long time ago wanted to give this situation back. They didn't want to be a part of this. This is not, the lashing out is not happening just from a place. It could be ego. Of course, there's a part of it that is ego, but there's too much exhaustion here, and there's too much fear and anxiety here for this to just be ego. People are lashing out of desperation, resentment, fear, and they know what's coming. They know what's coming. The sacrifice is coming. They're going to be sacrificed, and they know that. They have to be sacrificed. It's only logical. People who build and run these organizations understand how this goes. It's like the law of averages always. You can't have a situation like mine that persists, where someone is talking about this every day, encouraging people every day, telling people what they do every day. So someone has to be sacrificed. Something has to be sacrificed, or else the organization is sacrificed. Not because somebody has the power to sacrifice the organization itself, but because they're waking people up. And the thing is, how do you cause a revolution? It's not because you bring the whole thing down. It's because a revolution is an idea. A revolution is a realization. A revolution is a spark. And it's like lighting a candle, and one lights the other, the other, the other. And then, you know, revolutions happen before you notice. Revolutions are when people sit back and everybody's still going to work every day, and their demeanor hasn't changed. They're still smiling with you, but they're considering what is being said about you. They're mulling it over. they're reviewing it, they're coming to conclusions. Because by the time you see the physical signs of the revolution, it's been going on for quite some time. People have always felt how they felt. They felt dissent. When you rule, when you're not a benevolent leader, when you're not a generous person, when you're not a person who cares about people, when you don't operate out of a place of love, when you're not giving, and people know who you really are, they're smiling out of fear and saying, yes, 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 you have amazing clothes, Emperor. I love your cape. It's so beautiful. But you're naked. But you're bullying people to believe that you have clothing on, that you have beautiful clothing on. And they just keep agreeing with you. I love how you look. You look amazing. You're the greatest leader there ever was. You can do it. You're our man. And so you don't care if it's real or not. You have no one to hold you accountable. You don't get to self-reflect. You don't get to improve. You just bully your way through. And then finally, it's hit ahead. You've hit a wall and you're wondering why no one is coming to your rescue. Why no one is there. No one loves you. You were bullying your way through. This is how these organizations are. They don't care about operating from a place of people being properly compensated for what they're actually giving up, what they're losing. They don't operate from a place of developing people. You know, they're gang stalkers from every walk of life, no matter how educated, no matter how gifted, no matter what they are. And I used to think to myself, well, what a waste. You have someone in your organization who can sing like that. You really wanted to own them. Why not make them into the next Beyonce? That's where the real money is. Why hold them back? Oh, they're taking it away from you energetically. That's why they don't need you to develop yourself. Energetically, they're siphoning it. They're still going to get the money, but just not like that. Not through you. They're going to put someone less talented that they have in place and maybe teach that person how to do it in a mediocre way that doesn't necessarily attract anyone, that doesn't spark anyone, that doesn't motivate anyone. It's like when they steal your content and somebody else is delivering it in a way that makes you want to click off the video immediately because it's not theirs. It doesn't spark hope in anyone. It doesn't captivate anyone. Everything there is fake. The audience is fake. The comments are fake. The likes are fake. The person's fake. The message isn't even coherent. It's not coming from a good place. It's not. There is nothing behind it. There's no hope. You don't feel anything when you're done. You don't feel better. And they don't care as long as it looks like you go through these comments and you see the same person commenting, the same account commenting 17 times. It's all fake. It is all fake. Smoke and mirrors. So these kind of things, these kind of situations, it is in your best interest to not take the bribe. It got to the point where I stopped feeling like, let her out. She looks so sad. It got to the point where I stopped feeling hurt and not hurt necessarily because I don't know these people, but like resentful that people were like taking deals against me, to start realizing like, ooh, the deal is the karma. Whether it is spiritual people that we're supposed to be helping, or tarot readers, or even like where I bought this phone, the people that sold me the phone that was already pre-hacked. Even that, it's like, damn, now you belong to them with that one thing that you did. Now you belong to them. And you can see in them that they just wanted to agree to make the problem go away. And that's what they depend on with everyone. You'll just agree while they gang stalk you, while they come after you, you'll agree to make the problem go away, but the problem will never go away. the problem will worsen. And that's the situation with these bribes. So, you know, wherever you find yourself, everything in life, in some way or the other, you called that experience into yourself. Whether you were asking for something positive for yourself, or whether you were asking for positive things for other people, whether you wish other people well or you wish other people harm, whatever it is, however it goes, these are experiences that you call into yourself just by how you behave, just by your actions. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, I want to talk about energy in your space, and a bit of monitoring with energy. So, you know, one of the things that I have to acclimatize to is that I can bring the horse to water and I cannot force people to drink. It gets frustrating because sometimes I'm like, oh my God, if only you knew, if only you knew. But, you know, it is what it is. Let me talk about bringing not bringing the horse to water, but let me talk about energy and ways in which you're monitored. When flies appear in your house out of nowhere, these are monitoring spirits that want to either access you physically or just be in your space, hear what's going on, find out what you're talking about, just listening in. Those are flies. The second thing is they can astral project in your space and you will see a figure in your, well, if you can, but it'll appear as an apparition in your space. And these apparitions that are people astral projecting in your space look very different from when spirits are in your space. Spirits energetically monitor you differently. So I will tell you the difference between people doing things and spirit doing things. You need to always remember that spirits, they have common sense. They don't violate in the same way that people will. What do I mean by that? So a spirit, for example, will stay far away from your home, in the atmosphere away, outside of the auric field that protects you, and it could appear as anything. So think about things like gargoyles. Think about gargoyles that have wings. They'll be hovering, flying. Think about, you know, shadowy figures. Think about small creatures, things like that. That's how spirits appear. They have different forms. When people astral project, they will go past auric protection fields. They will go past protection work. They will go past things that are going to deplete their personal protection, and they will probably not think about the effect that that's going to have on them moving forward. So spirits are not going to come into an environment that is spiritually protected. They send people to do that at great cost to themselves. As you continue to violate spaces that are protected, it weakens you as a person. And it seems to me the price that they pay for that is not just the price to their own vessel, but it's also at a cost to their life. Because while they are in your protected space, they don't realize that they are also being worked on while in that space. So while people might believe that they're in your protected space and they're monitoring you, there are spirits in that place that are depleting them in every way, shape, and form. So people might notice that as you keep your space protected and they astrally come in that space, their life continues to dwindle and go down. They might just, you know, I describe it like those Indiana Jones movies where they go into the temples, and the moment they set foot across that barrier of going into the tomb, they've already cursed themselves. But the deeper and deeper that they go into it is the more and more cursed they are. And when they touch things, Nothing, no energy stopped them from touching things, from taking a lamp and taking the gold and doing all of this. Nothing stops them, but they pay the ultimate price for that. And in these situations that are spiritual, the price is not just losing abundance, losing freedom, losing your life. No, no, no. The cost is to your soul. And I want to caution people every time no one stops you. I don't even know if I should be cautioning or not. It's a trap. God is almighty. God can stop it. Why are there no entities haunting the space? Why do the entities refuse this role? What do I not know that the entities know? Every time that you're not being stopped, it's a trap, but it's your path to walk. So it's kind of like being in that tomb and breathing in that poisonous air. And the air may even smell good to breathe in, but it's like breathing in that air metaphorically. It's like breathing in spores that are gonna dismantle you from the inside. There are entities around, and they don't enter a protected space. They don't cross protection lines. They don't cross any of that. They will not do it. They will watch from a distance. It's people that they use to do these things. So first one I mentioned was the flies. Second one, people astral projecting into your space. And the third one is people energetically entering your space. And in situations like that, typically you can smell them. And they smell like whatever, the best way I can describe it is like whatever level of karma they're in. So there are people who I'll talk about in my situation. So in the beginning, someone smelled like formaldehyde. Formaldehyde or embalming fluid. Like it smelled like something, some hospital solution that they use for the dead. And that was when I met this energy. It smelled like that already. So I knew what this energy smelled like. And then it has continued to dwindle and become more and more pungent over time. So it went from smelling like formaldehyde. And I remember very early on saying to someone, this energy smells like it's already dead, like it's being kept alive with spell work. And it's now dwindled so bad that even with it not fully being present, and I know that's not the full presence of it, it is so repugnant that like you have to run. Like it's almost like if it's in the washroom, I would damn near hold, and just like come out because I'm like, oh my goodness. This is a good indication of, not a good indication, it is the most accurate indication of where you are karmically, where you are in relation to where your life is, where your soul is. All of the energies that violate my boundaries and come in here, they all smell like something very repugnant. So they're the ones that smell like fish. I don't even, you know what the craziest one is? The ones that smell like fear, because I can't tell you what fear smells like. I can't describe it to you. They're ones that smell like fear and anxiety. They're ones that smell like, there was one energy, it smelled like a neglected baby. A baby that sits in a dirty diaper all day. It smelled like a baby that was not wanted, was never wanted. It smells like being trapped with a child. And like something being wrong with the child as well. I don't know how. Maybe that's not a scent. Maybe that's just perceiving a person's situation. There are others that smell like poison, like it smells like a poison. These kind of things, they give indication as to like where you are karmically and what you've been doing energetically, what's been happening to you. The choices, it's like energetically you smell like your choices. And you know, when you have someone in your aura, a lot of those energies too that have come into the aura, some of them, a lot of them, they're youthful, they're young children, if not young in age, young in spirit, kids who are being definitely led the wrong way, kids who maybe have a spiritual gift and they're putting them in the way of this karma immediately. And so they come in and they're anxious and they're terrified, they're scared, and it's like a very shaky energy. And those ones, when they come in, they don't yet smell like their karma, but you know that they will. You know that they will. That's the path that they're taking. That's where it's gonna go to. If there is an energy that comes around you and it doesn't yet smell repugnant, it does not mean necessarily that this is a good energy. It could be, and you have to also look at what happens while this energy is around you. So let me explain this. One piece of advice that I want to give: it's very important to burn incense in your vehicles as you drive, because people are coming in energetically and they're not just coming in to be in your space, they're trying to curse you. The curses that they put on you to have car crashes and to lose things, maybe they can't come into your home in the way that they want because they'll be chased out or your home is protected. So they'll try to get you in the car. And so the car is a smaller space, it's a tighter space, you got to burn some sage. But if you can't and you're on the highway, open the window. The noise and the air from it makes it difficult for them to stay around you in the way that they want to. They may be able to come into your aura while you're outside, but they can't stay in the way that they want to. It's not a closed space, and it's not a space maybe that they may know what the space looks like, so they can astrally travel around it. So open a window if you don't have incense, but burn some incense in your car, because they're coming to curse you. If they energetically stay too long in that car, you're gonna have car crashes. There's gonna be road rage. They're not coming for a good reason. After they come into the space, bad things start happening. That's what they're there for. They're either there to monitor or curse or both. So spots in your house where you smell these scents, that's where you have to leave the incense burning. Close the door and leave the incense to chase them out, to chase them away. You know, I give tips and tricks here and there, and sometimes I'm like, what is even the point? Like, listen, there are tips you need that if you can't even accept burning incense or saging your home, you're definitely not ready for these kind of protection. But it's like, people, again, cannot make the horse drink, but like, if you are going through a situation where you can recognize energy work, as you're saying, it's spell work, and they've changed your perception of it, so you don't clean it and you don't do anything about it, you just exist in it and accept it as energy work is happening, but you cannot get through. You will not have, you can't get through, you can't get over it if you're not cleaning up your space, if you're not doing the things that you are supposed to be doing. And you are supposed to be doing things to take care of yourself energetically. God can give you the information, but if you don't believe in God, nothing will happen for you. You won't be relieved. When these monitoring spirits come in here, first of all, we kill flies. We kill all flies. But even if we don't kill it, the cats are so happy to have a fly. They get that opportunity to hunt something, they'll eat it mid-air, which I don't even know if it's a good or bad thing. They're so sweet. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. So we don't, and I wonder what that experience is like for a monitoring spirit to be attacked by an animal like that. But we have that. People have done everything. I used to think, what a violation. I used to think, well, why doesn't God do anything about this? Because like this is, but then I realized, oh my gosh, it's because of that. That's why the situation is improving for me. It's because of all of these energetic violations that keep happening. I want you to trust in your process. I want you to understand that spirits and energy, they use our free will either for us or against us. That by doing these things, it's how your situation improves. That sometimes you're going to have to endure something for a long time, but it's the something that you endure that will improve your situation. It's the violations that you endure that will improve your situation. To bring someone to justice, you can't do it if there is no injustice. There may have been injustice against everyone else, but it's your injustice that will bring this person down. And if there is no injustice, how can they be brought to justice? I'm running from a hacked device, but if there's no hacked device, how on earth can I prove the device is hacked? How can I give something into evidence if the device is clean? One must accept that this is the situation. This is the path. This is the path. They're entities that all they are is a spirit. And so they understand how the spirit world works, and they understand this is how it happens. They can't escape it like human beings can be under the guise of there is no consequences, because they understand that we don't always believe things that are reality. That energies have already convinced people of what to believe and what to not believe. The truth could be in someone's face and they could still be convinced. Gang stalking has taught me that. The truth can be in your face and people won't believe their eyes, their ears, their feelings, their gut, their intuition, none of the above. It's easier to believe another person that says, it's fine, you're fine. She's a liar, he's a liar, that never happened. And the only time they believe is when they're inside, being persecuted. The only time that the professionals believe you is when they get these interns that come and work for free. They lose their client base. They lose their stability. And by the time that they have to acknowledge that you weren't lying the whole time, they're already deep in the organization. They're deep in the organization. They are part of it. And the worst part of all of it is admitting to yourself that you were warned and you knew, and you're still suffering this fate despite having been warned. You were warned. You knew the risk that you were taking, and you did it anyway. So, 3 things that I've spoken about today. Your freedom. There is absolutely nothing more important than freedom. Freedom over everything. Whatever you are given in exchange for freedom cannot be enjoyed. There is no price to freedom. 2, refuse bribes at all costs. A good way to start that is by being a good person and by not agreeing to things that you know in your heart is wrong. In your heart, you know this is wrong. If you feel any guilt about it, it's wrong. And even I know that even people who feel no guilt, who feel no remorse, who feel no shame, they still too know that things are wrong. Just because no one's stopping you while you're doing things does not mean. I'll give you an example. There are energies that have spiritually put their hands on me and been taught a lesson not to do that. And so one would think, if you were taught a lesson not to put your hands on someone, why do they not teach you a lesson when you come into the space? Why do they not teach you a lesson when you do all of the things that you do, when you take all of the things that you take, when you persecute in the way that you persecute? Why have they not taught you a lesson for that stuff, but they taught you a lesson for putting your hands? It is very apparent that they could block you if they wanted to, but they didn't, and they're not. Why? We must always keep self-evaluating, asking ourselves. Meditation is good for that. Meditation makes you, it makes you have moments with yourself. It makes you reflect whether you want to or not. The thoughts that are at the surface that want to rise to the top, it does. See, meditation is everything all at once. Meditation is not just for God speaking back to you and getting downloads. Meditation is not just for relaxing and getting your peace back. Meditation is a way of life. It's for everything. It's not just one thing. You can't steal a person's downloads just because you interrupt the meditation. You can't steal a person's protection or block your karma because you interrupt prayers. The downloads are gonna come anyway. Listen, if you get downloads, you can't escape downloads. You've been getting downloads your whole life. It's not now that you spiritually awaken that you're gonna get downloads or God's gonna talk to you. God's gonna keep talking to you. You can't escape the voice of God. You can't dull it if you want to. It will listen, God will literally speak to you because you picked up a cereal box. There's the message. That's how spirit, because when spirit has something to communicate, it communicates it, you think, just with one way. It continues communicating it in everything you see and do everywhere you go. God will give you a download through your enemy. God will give you a download through your arch nemesis. God will confirm things to you every way. We are literally cannot escape the fact that we all are in service of God in some way or the other. And when God says they will make your enemy your footstool, that is a fact. Through the injustices that you suffer by your enemies, that is your ladder to your rise. And holding on in your storm, accepting the path as it is how you get your justice. And there's no point in fighting against it. It's going to happen one way or the other. You just have to walk the path. You just have to walk the path that you've been put on. There is no point. And you know what? You forfeit it, and it sucks because I've seen people forfeit their path over and over because at the first sign of a little bit of opposition, at the first sign of a little bit of pain, without putting up any fight whatsoever, they gave all of it away. You need your injustice. You need your pain. You need the suffering. You need the turmoil. You need all of that. It's like skipping the cooking process. It's like saying, I want to take a vegetable and raw meat and sit and eat it off a plate right away, with skipping the peeling of it, skipping the cooking of it, skipping the boiling, skipping the ugly phase. You can't do that. You need all of it. That's how you learn. You need every time that you don't do something correctly. You need every mistake. You need every time someone ridicules you. You need all the criticism. That is how you build it. You need every time that it didn't look good. That is where you realize I plug in the gaps and I improve it this way by doing this. You need all of that. Every time you try to skip that process, every time you try to go around it, every time you want instant anything, it's not good for you. Even instant food is not good for you. Nothing instant is good for you. I talk about baking analogies all the time. The best breads take the longest to prepare, not the longest to make, the longest to prepare. The baking part of it is the same for all of them, but the best textures, the best bread, the best desserts, they take a long time to prepare. You can watch videos of making desserts where it literally takes a very long time to make it. It's tedious, just so you can get to that end result and take the same amount of time to eat it. But That's what makes it a delicacy. That is what makes it special, is the time that it took to prepare. It's what it took to prepare it. It's not instant. It's not something that you're going to find everywhere. You have to give yourself your patience. You have to wait on God and wait on God's timing. You have to walk through your trials. You have to put up your fight. The same way we all have to go through our struggle. There's no getting around it. We all have to go through the fight of what we have to go through. That's what builds us. Do I want mine to be over like today? If I got the option and God's like, okay, do you want it to be done? Yeah, let's be done with it. But who I've become in this process and how I've accepted myself, and all of the changes that have happened to me have happened as a result of the adversity that I've had to go through. So the message is, stay in your fight. The fight is the win. The longer you stay here, the more likely it is that you win. And sometimes you might not see your situation improving, just like you don't see your body changing as you make the right decisions, let's say in your weight loss. Listen, I have a pair of pants that I used to struggle to put on. It was like the one pair, whenever I pull it, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a fight to get into these ones. And I put them on yesterday and they just slid right up, and there's still space in them. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's so insane. You don't see it. Maybe other people might see the growth and other people might see it, but you don't see the improvement in your situation. Not every day is going to be sunny and not everything's going to be glamorous, and you get to keep going and you get to fight another day as you keep going, and you get to be a version of yourself that's very proud for how far you've come. I'm extremely proud of how far I've come, because I can see God's confidence in me. I can feel it, where they were very nervous in the beginning, like, oh my goodness, like some adversity is gonna come your way, how are you gonna handle it? It's like they're like, oh, she's fine, she can figure this one out, you know. And they know that if it is at a point where I'm not happy with the situation, that I'm gonna come in the spirit and be like, hey, I need some help. But there's never a point where I would ever consider giving up. There's never a point where I would ever, even if I'm tired, I mean, I've really proved it. Even if I am tired, exhausted, have no strength, then I pray for strength. If I have no motivation, I pray for the motivation. If I have I've never had no will to move forward, but if I did, I would pray for the will to move forward. I wouldn't pray to be released from it. I wouldn't pray necessarily for it to end. I understand that the path is the path, and this is how I have to move forward, and it just is what it is. I can only encourage people to do the same, not because you want to, not because you feel like it's working, not because you know how long it's going to be, but because you need to hold on. And it's like working out. It's like eating properly and working out, and just even forgetting, when is this all going to work? When am I going to see the results? Just doing what you have to do every day as a habit, and just giving God something to work with, and going through the process and improving and making changes, etc., etc. Eventually you're going to get there. I know that your gang stalking experience, being a targeted individual, is the hardest battle you're ever going to have to face. And I want you to know, I want you to be assured that you are not the only one being targeted. Millions of people are targeted, whether they call themselves a targeted individual or not. Celebrities, politicians, whatever have you. Celebrities are so targeted. Once you're a celebrity, to me, celebrity is synonymous with targeted individual. It is saying I'm a targeted individual to me. So I think you have to come to the point with yourself that you relax in this journey, because it's not going anywhere in a hurry. And you've already come to terms with it, that this is your life, and now you start making improvements one at a time. and not rushing yourself or your process and getting through and not worrying about how it's gonna end or where it's gonna land you. You might not want that to be your reality, but if it is, if the worst happens, your worst case scenario happens, I want you to know you'll still be okay. You'll still be fine. You will be taken care of in that storm. God is still gonna be right there with you. And sometimes where you end up, like myself, this is the launch pad for you. This is the place from which you build. You rebuild yourself. You rebuild your future. Don't worry too much about that. Worry more about taking care of yourself, about improving yourself, trying to ease the pain in your own way. People like myself will give advice on things you can do, and you'll see great improvement right away from it. And then enhancing whatever you're given, building on these ideas. Everything is trial and error. Not even the spirit gives you, not even spirit will give you the answers. You have to find them yourself. But it's not because spirit wants you to suffer by not knowing the answers. It's because spirit wants you to develop into the kind of person that can find answers all the time. That's how you build someone who can be of service. It's like, think about it. I talk about like being a spy all the time, right? Or being like maybe like a government spy, let's call it. They can't be in contact with you all the time saying, have you done this, have you done that, have you tried, like you're not no one's going to be strategizing. You're going to be in the field and you're going to be cut off from communication and help, and you just got to get it done by any means necessary. And part of that job does involve, you're going to be imprisoned, you're going to be trapped. You might be trapped in some place for like 3 years being tortured with no communication. What they depend on is the fact that you understand that you're of service and you don't break at any time, and you're entrusted with secrets that you can never reveal. No matter what happens, it means you die with it. They're human jobs like that you die with the secrets, that you die in service, that you were tortured, but you stood your ground. So for me, I look at it from a new perspective when they talk about witch hunts and witches that were burned at the stake. They don't just, I don't know why I'm saying this. I don't think they just burn them just because like, oh, you're a witch, let's instantly burn you. I'm pretty sure they try to convert them to Christianity or to whatever the religion of the day is. I'm pretty sure they tried to make them publicly admit that they did something wrong and their beliefs are wrong, and to change and to whatever. And I'm pretty sure the ones that were burned were the ones that were like, no, I'm gonna go down with the ship. So in your gang stalking journey, if you truly believe that you were chosen for something, if you truly believe in what you're going through, you believe in who you believe God is, you have to operate as a spy or a witch who's going to be burnt at the stake, and you got to be willing to unapologetically be walked to your grave in a public square, if that's what it takes. Whatever it takes, however it goes. That's what a person is. That is what makes you, and I've said this before, that's what puts you in high rank in the spirit. And there are energies here that would have fled their posts were they not binded to demonic entities. As a matter of fact, they want to unbind themselves, obviously, because they can see where this is going. This is a guaranteed L. It's a guaranteed loss. Guaranteed. All necessary components for failure are permanently locked in. It's already done. It was done months ago. It was done last year, early in the year. It was done from the time they took this thing on. It's a suicide mission from day one. So it's kind of the same with you. When you get on your path and you stay on your path, all components needed for success are locked in. It's locked in. You just gotta walk that path. Day by day, second by second, there's things that need to be done. There's growth that needs to happen. There are things you need to do, and you just gotta get on the path, stay on the path, and keep moving in the right direction. Don't worry about if things are easy or not. Nothing's easy. Nothing ever is easy. Nothing is going to be easy. Not now, not ever. If you wanted, your dream was to build Facebook, the world's biggest global platform, that's great. You have the billions. And now you find out that the government can control this app and wants to control this app. And now the government is gang stalking. People are like, I'm on a government watch list. Are you Mark Zuckerberg? Do you know why Mark Zuckerberg bought a bunker? Is it for the end of the world, or is it because of the way the government's on his ass? Because this thing has a lot of influence now. Huh? You've succeeded, you built this global thing, but it has a lot of influence. Oh, you have TikTok? Well, we're kicking it out of our country because it has an influence outside of our control. So we're gonna ban it in our country. We are not friends with your country. And this app that you've built that people love has a control or an influence on our population outside of our control. If you're a targeted individual and you're sitting there for 1 second thinking that the government has any type of vested interest in you who cannot even produce for yourself, who cannot be of value to yourself, that you think that they have an interest in you, expending these kind of resources into you, you are not doing gang stalking math. You're not doing any math. This is not to hurt anybody's feelings, but you do not present a value great enough to expend these resources on your suffering. Okay? I'm being honest. And you should have been able to come to this conclusion yourself. Did you have an invention? Do you have something that will change the country, society at large? Why? What are they benefiting off of you by you being on a watch list? You think they need you out in public to torture you? You don't think they have, if they wanted to experiment with energy weapons, you don't think they have Area 51? They have places where they can experiment quietly that no one will ever hear of? You don't think they have places on the ocean floor? Come on, please. Use your judgment. Make it make sense all the time. You're not on a government watch list. This is witchcraft. This is spell work. This is energy work. The government has more important things to monitor, like billionaires, people with influence, people who can affect the minds of others on mass scale. That is what they're invested in. That's what makes sense. People who can influence elections, people who can influence people's purchasing habits, people who can influence if people invest, people who can influence people's thoughts, people's thinking. And so the government doesn't need to experiment their energy weapons on you out here in the public for no reason. Someone paid for your suffering, and that's all it is. Someone paid a group of people for you to suffer. That's all it is. Your suffering will continue as long as they have money to pay and they're willing to pay. The minute they stop, your gang stalking stops. That's it. Done. Everybody and anybody can be a targeted individual at any time. Okay? if you want to elevate in life, you have to become very accustomed to being a targeted individual. You're going to be targeted all the time. That's your path. It may ease up now and it could start up again at any time. You can see people that are targeted individuals. You ever see a show or you watch something about a celebrity and they are slandering this person. They are so unfair to this person. They're so unfair about everything this person's going through. They manipulate this person's suffering to say this person is no one and they're no good and this and that and the third, and they deserve everything they're going through. They do all of this. And when you scroll through the comments, you cannot find one positive comment in a sea of 2,000 people commenting. That's what it's like being a targeted individual. So their money didn't stop the targeting. Their social influence didn't stop the targeting. Right now, Jennifer Lopez is being targeted. Her show is failing. Nobody's coming to the show. She had to cancel it. The negative press, the marriage falling apart. They're working on that lady. That's what it's like being a targeted influence, a targeted individual. It's like any time she got with Ben Affleck, she's going through all of this. That's the prime example that I can give that everybody can see. The negative press about her is so brutal that other people who don't even know what's going on are sitting there like, why are they brutalizing this lady like that? They probably have covens and covens and covens and covens of people working on her. But that's how it is. That's how it is. So it doesn't change. It can happen at any time. And then you want to get so big and make so much money and have so much of this and so much of that, and the government comes for you. Yeah, you achieved the goal. Yeah, you did all of this. Elon Musk talks about all the times where he feels he's like, there was something about energy saving and they invited all these companies and they didn't invite him, and he is working so hard to build Tesla. And there's all the negative press about Tesla and there's this and that, and they want to affect the sales. Targeted individual. What is it that he doesn't agree with the government with? What is it that the government wants that he doesn't want to come on board with? It's the same thing every day with everyone. So please don't be too much of a victim. It is painful, but we must find ways to insulate ourselves. We must find ways to constantly combat this. So you might think it sucks. You want to wish to be one of these people. You want to have all this money and they're in that big mansion constantly thinking about, are they being hacked? Are they accessing my system? Are people breaching my security measures? What's happening with this? And then you wake up the next day and Facebook is down, Instagram is down, Twitter is down. This huge app is down for 6 hours out of the day, 3 hours, and you're scrambling. And you're thinking, what have I gotten myself into? And you're thinking, can I trust my wife? Can I trust, the people who work for me? Can I trust this? Can I trust that? And you have a lot of responsibility and a lot to carry. So this is life. This is the life that we're in. This is the life experience as it keeps evolving. This is where you're at. And you're not alone if you are on your knees right now. You are not alone if you are at your wit's end at any point in time. We all get there. The best of us are at our wit's end. I like shows. I used to really like House of Cards because that guy was at his wit's end all the time. They were always with their back against the wall. And what you admire most about it is how they continue to slither out of every situation meant to bring them down. But isn't that the job of a spy? A president being elected has to go through that. A spy everybody has to go through that. Anybody who is a winner, anybody who can be trusted, anybody who can be respected, not micromanaged, not hoping and pleading you do what you're supposed to, not hoping that you get it done. Somebody who you can toss a job and say, get it done. Get it done. Nobody cares really. I mean, they care how. They care how. God wants me to be elegant about this. God wants me to be graceful. Wouldn't it be beautiful if I could be graceful the entire time? that's part of the work, working on that. But sometimes it just has to get done. It just has to get done. It really just needs to get done. You need the confidence that it's going to get done. I can tell you, I talk about this girl all the time, Katroya J. She's a reader. I admire her. I have great respect for her. I look up to her. I don't look up to many people in this life, many physical human beings I do not look up to. Me looking up to people has nothing to do with money, nothing to do with affluence, nothing to do with influence, nothing to do with how they look. It's your heart. It's who you are. It's your character. That's what makes you worthy in my eyes. And I see her as, in some ways, better than me, stronger than me. She did her best. She got it done. And that's it. She got it done. Was it always graceful? Could I always look at it and say, there were times I was cringing. I was like, oh, Troy, don't talk like that. Don't say that. Don't post that picture with your middle finger up. But he who feels it knows I'm not in her shoes. So I don't know what she's enduring. So, but she got it done. And because she got it done, she's going to live the life that she's supposed to live, that she deserves. She got it done. She got it done. And I know that maybe people might look at the situation and be like, they made an example of her. It's all about perspective. They made an example of her and they got it on camera and it was public. They got it on fucking camera. That shit they did to her is on camera. No one can say it didn't happen. It's on camera. And 20,000 plus people saw it. So she got it done. That's the point. She got it done. She got it done. She got the job done. Her injustice, it's sealed in. She got it done. So I look up to people like that, who don't shy away from the mission that they're given, who don't shy away from their walk, and who prove themselves, who had to sacrifice everything to get it done. So now that you've done your part, the gods can do their part. Now they can come and do what they have to do on your behalf because you got it done to the end. There are some people who are always scared. Everything they're scared of. They're scared. Oh, I'm going to go to jail. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh, whatever. Oh, I'm going to go to court. Oh, they're going to take things from me. Oh, I'm going to be homeless. Oh, I'm going to lose this and I'm going to go lose that. That's part of the job. That's part of the job. If they were to give you a contract, a folder, and you'd have to read over the terms and conditions, that's part of the job. Those were the conditions of the job. Because everybody wants the big prize. Big prize means a lot of work. Big prize means a lot of risk. Bigger the reward, the bigger what is expected of you. You got to get it done. You got to keep going. You got to keep walking. And no one's going to micromanage you and constantly be there and be like, do this, do that. You get tips every once in a while. It's nice once in a while, but this is really your path. You got to walk it. And you want to walk this path and stand at the end of your life looking at God, looking at the elders, because no matter if you think that they exist or not, they don't need your meaningless belief to exist. My meaningless belief means nothing. It's the truth. The truth is the truth. Spiritually, that this life is not just 3D. It is a spiritual existence. It doesn't need the validation of your belief to be real. When you get to the end of your life, you have to be able to look up at God in the eye and say, I did my job, without anything else. Short conversations. I'm the same way. I don't like hearing a lot about what I did. I'm like black and white. Like, did it get done? Great. I can't even spend a lot of time congratulating you because we still got more to go. Let's continue on. I treat my children the same way. Just get it done. Oh, but this but yeah, I understand that, but we got to get it done, right? Get it done. That's how we built our business. That's how it is. We're working long hours, we're doing this, we're doing that, blah, 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 but we got it done. Just get it done. So that's what it really boils down to, as you've been given this gift, this opportunity. And the last thing I'm going to say in regards to this opportunity, everybody always says when something happens to someone, they're like, Lord, how comes this never happened to me so I could get the chance at this lawsuit? Why? Because publicly you see the injustice is clear. It's a slam dunk case. So we sit back and we're like, that never happens to me. I never get hit by a car like that. That never happened so I could get my big payout. Do you think the person going through it, experiencing that, is saying that? No. So here you are, you've been given gang stalking, and you cry and you complain. Of course you are. It's tough. Don't let me make it like it's not. I cry and complain too. But this is you getting that opportunity. You got to go through the whole injustice, not a little bit of it, because the case is not going to be easy like that. You got to go through the whole thing. Oh my God, they're still hacking me while they're under investigation. That's the fucking point. Now's the time they got to hack you more. Now's the time they got to do it more when people are watching. So you got to walk through the entire thing. You got to do what you're supposed to at the time you're supposed to do it. I've given all the analogies from being at war, being a spy, whatever the case, because it's always do or die in those situations. You are not the only one. I am not the only one. I remind myself, and what you're doing is bigger than you, because there are people who either do not have the spiritual connection or whatever it would take to get through it. The strength of character, the ability to endure, they don't have it. So if God puts you in a position to get something done, you just have to get it done. You gotta stay in your fight till the end. And we don't know what the end is, but you gotta be willing for whatever the end is, that end to occur. And you just gotta trust that you're on the right side, you're on the right team. And it's so funny because I just always have the feeling, I'm like, I was definitely like burned at the stake. I know it. There was one reading and it was like, oh, you're wondering if you were, and this is your confirmation. I didn't need confirmation. I know that is my character. That is my character. My character is that I was unapologetically walked down, and that to the very last flame that I didn't and won't. This is who they're dealing with. There is no possibility or hope that an energy or a consciousness like mine is ever going to budge off of what I believe in. When I believe in it, I will lose everything and everyone over it. And that is not, it's a threat. See how they're like, it's not a threat, it's a promise, or it's not a threat, it's a guarantee, it's a threat. I fight like I have nothing to lose because I could care less. When I am put in a position where I have to defend what I have said, I meant it. That's why I don't have to say it in a rough voice. I don't have to scream it. I don't have to try to prove it, because I know that I'm willing to throw everything behind it. So if you want God's respect, which is the respect that you actually really want, when people ask, why does God protect this one like that, or is in that one's corner like that, or shows up for that one like that, is because that one continues to show up for God. And if that's a position that you want, then this is what it takes. So God puts certain people in certain positions for a reason. So I'm going to end it here. Much respect to Katroya J. Have yourself a great day, and remember that God loves you.